Coming up on this episode of Don't Panic, we've got all the news you can handle out of WWDC, including new iPads, new Macs, that funky little HomePod speaker thing, and we talk about all the iOS updates that you expect us to. It's Don't Panic, and it's going to start for you right now. This is Don't Panic, episode number 164, recorded June 5th, 2017. It's a fully baked, buttery smooth drag fest. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Don't Panic. We are back, and we are ready to talk back technology. Well-rested, ready to go. I'm Sean Jennings, joined, as always, by two guys who are just keynote fanatics. It is Dan Miller and Colby Rabidou, gentlemen.
It's true.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Are you enjoying a little bit of the High Sierra, as they call it?
I'm not currently, but... It's they're opening like dispensaries and stuff in Massachusetts soon, supposedly. So
that's right.
It's only a matter of time.
I thought that those jokes were pretty funny, especially because I knew it was coming. So when I watched it, what did he say?
It was fully baked.
They assured me it's fully baked.
No. He said something before that was also a pun before he said the name. So on the rewatch, I should have written down what it was. I forget. But I enjoyed that joke. I thought overall the jokes, it was a pretty funny one. Like some of the external speakers were a little cringy as is usual, but like the Apple jokes, the opening video wasn't as good as the last one, but it was pretty good.
Solid.
What was the last one? I don't remember that.
The last one was the one with they were like behind the scenes. It was some sort of like I don't know. People were rushing around backstage. There were celebrities. I forget what the premise was. I remember that one being really good. Oh, or is it like apps? Like people were different apps or something? I don't remember.
Yeah, I like the Apple Spaceship Campus jokes, and there were some good ones that they threw in there. They always have a nice. Craig Federighi, I could just listen to that guy go on for. He's so enthusiastic about the magical, amazing, best in the world everything.
I would listen to him talk about computational neural nets all day long.
Well,
that's basically what we did.
Well, that was going to be my opening joke, and I figured it was too on the nose. I was going to say this show is individually tailored by machine learning while still protecting your privacy, because that's what we do here at Don't Panic. Yeah, it was a fun event. Before we get to WWDC, we got to get some stuff out of the way. I want to thank everybody who is listening to the show as always, but especially those joining us live on Facebook. It's Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, which means we're live at facebook.com/don'tpanicshow. You can go there, comment on the Facebook page, and we'll be watching it all show long. Let us know your thoughts. You can also give us a call on our phone number, which for the moment still exists. That number is 508-644-TECH. That's 508-644-8324. It's there on the number. Right there on the screen for you as well. Gentlemen, any personal banter we want to do before getting into... I mean, we did a show a month ago, and then before that, it was a whole nother... So it's been basically like 2 months.
Now, you were in a different state the last show we did, right?
I was 2,000 miles away from my current location, give or take. I'm now much closer to you. You can tell the latency is a lot better, right? Because I'm a lot closer. Yeah. It's a lot smoother. Right. It's a little later in the evening as well. Mm-hmm. But yes, no, I am now in the great state of Massachusetts. This is now, if you can believe it, the 4th headquarters of the Coffee and Beer Podcast Network.
Wow.
If you can believe it.
Have we been doing it for 4 years?
Well, it's our loose anniversary. Actually, June 16th was the first show we ever did, but it was on WWDC iOS 7. 4 years ago. Tonight, episode number 164. Can you believe it?
Holy moly. That's like 164 hours. And that's without all our before and after time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's bad. What have we done with our lives, guys? Seriously. This is time we'll never get back.
I don't know. The return on investment.
We made almost how many dollars?
Oh, God, we've made over $10.
Now,
no, if you subtract expenses, we're quite in the hole.
I was gonna say recently I've noticed our AWS charges for like the podcast files and stuff has gone up like 300% from like 30 cents a month to like $1.30 a month. It's hard to say why that's the case.
Unsustainable. That's unsustainable. I mean, seriously, advertisers, we need you. So please, we'll sell out to anybody. But that's great. Hey, no, we appreciate everyone who's listened to some. I don't think anyone's listened to all of them, but those who've listened to some of the episodes, we've been on all of them, so we appreciate that. Anything else going on, guys, or should we jump into WWDC?
I don't know, man. I wish it would be nice weather.
Oh my God! Why did I move up north? What the hell was I thinking? It was.
Hey, listen,
it
could be 98 degrees and humid as all hell. So let's
I
all
kind of
calm
almost
down.
prefer that, though.
That's true.
That's what I used to live in, Dan.
I really know. I'd have to put in my air conditioner. I'd really rather not do that.
I am also avoiding that.
My house is cold. I've been wearing jeans and a sweatshirt, guys. What's going on? Where'd the sun go?
We don't really have the sun up here anymore.
Oh, God damn it.
Right.
Yeah.
Global warming, man, it's the worst. Climate change, the sun is going away. That can't be good.
The sun moved to Europe too, so.
Mm-hmm. Can't blame it.
No,
I'm out of here.
Flip the table. Got out. Very good. Well, all right. Well, then let's jump into the news. As we mentioned, the big story this week: WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference for the Apple Computer Corporation. Over 5,000 attendees, as noted by CEO Tim Cook, on hand to witness their keynote announcement. This is one of the big Apple events of the year. And guys, I got to be honest with you. I'm officially over Apple keynotes.
Really?
Wow.
Because Apple doesn't innovate anymore. All they do is they improve on stuff, and good for them. I think it's great. I'm glad. But the whole point of a keynote is to wow you. I could have done this in a press release and been just as satisfied.
All right, I will disprove you.
I felt that way at a couple points throughout the presentation, but unlike past presentations, there were a couple points where I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool."
Yeah. Yeah.
But it took them 2.5 hours to do that. That's my point. Is when it got to the point where they were demonstrating a file system on iPad, oh my God, wow. I was like, enough. Stop this. I don't need to know it's the most magical, amazing, best in the world
all right,
file.
Let's talk
Do you
about...
think there was some jest in that, though?
I don't think it was.
Poking fun at themselves a little bit?
I don't think
I feel like somebody had to be like, this is hilarious.
But also, hang on. Let's go out of order. Let's talk about the file system thing. The file, I think the idea that they're slowly turning iOS into a full-fledged thing and taking it really slow and taking the things that are really good about iOS, but making it so you don't have to sacrifice anything, really interesting. For example, the file browser thing wasn't really feasible because there were no files. There were files. If you're an app developer, you can write files, but you can only see the files you've written. You can't see anyone else's files. On the Windows and on Mac, if you write an application, you expect to be able to see all the files that the user can see. That's how it works. But on iOS, it doesn't work that way. And it's much better because you can't have some rogue application go download all your bank statements or encrypt your hard drive and hold you for ransom. You can't do these things on iOS. So the file system thing is actually really neat because it looks to you like the user, you get all the benefits of software you would have on a Mac, but to the developer, it's the same. They can't go reaching into this magic blob. You have to drag things from one app to the other. That's like an explicit granting of permission. You have to open things in apps, and it's not built on this idea that apps can just open any file they want. And I think that's actually really cool. I wasn't expecting them to ever have this, really. But I think now that they do have it, it means that, and I guess we'll talk about the iPad stuff later, that I think you could make a real computer out of this, real soon. I think we're within 5 years of Xcode and pretty much anything on a iPad Pro in a different way than you're used to, but in a totally feasible way. None of this cutting corners stuff you kind of have to do now.
Well, and don't get me wrong. I think it's awesome, and I'm totally on board. And actually, when we get in, I'm gangbusters on iPad, so don't get me wrong. I love that word. Don't get me wrong on that. But all I'm
I just
saying
had
is,
a flash of like Sean Jennings bumper stickers or something that say I'm gangbusters.
I'm going gangbusters.
If you ever run for office, Sean, that can be your campaign.
It would only be better if during a debate you use the word slobber knocker. Then I think if you're gangbusters for slobber knockers, it would be amazing.
Oh my goodness. No, my only point is that it took until iOS 11 for this. That's my only problem, is don't act like it's cool, but like it's not earth-shattering. Like it's not revolutionary. It's a good idea and they should do it, and I'm glad they did it. But don't act like, oh my, I'm just saying,
So would you rather that it was just like 30 minutes in and out?
Yes. Yes, unless they were introducing something really crazy cool. So in my little notepad here, right, I've got my notes I literally was writing during the event. And this is where I wrote down all of the things that I found noteworthy during the event. None of it's any of the big shit. Amazon Prime on tvOS, right?
Oh, I was really excited about that. Oh my god.
Let's see, Steam and VR now on Mac. That's interesting, right? But it's none of the big shit. It's all the like little bits and pieces that they could have done in 30 minutes. That's all I'm saying, is you didn't have to walk me through like, oh, we've reskinned this app to make it look better. And I'm like, oh, cool. Just push the update, bro. Like, calm down.
I mean, this is also for the developers at the conference, and it's a piece of entertainment.
And you're exactly right, Dan. And that was my realization, is that finally, and this is why I don't know why everyone makes a big deal about it. It is a developer conference, and the keynote is for developers. And if you're not a developer, I don't know why you give a shit about this. You should just wait until the fall event when they re-announce all the iOS stuff alongside the new phones. And then, like, who cares? Because I didn't understand half of the, like, Metal 2 has neural net processing.
Shaders.
What the
Yeah.
It was very confusing.
Half precision computation, Sean.
What can we take a quick break and like Dan can explain to us what that is? Because I certainly don't know what that is.
I suspect that it means that like if you have a 64-bit floating number, you could like do math operations with it out to like the full precision of 64 bits, or you could just only do it halfway if you don't really care.
And you can do double the math if you only use half the number.
Perhaps that was how I think that works, but I don't actually know.
So if I understand, that means the calculator is going to be a lot faster on the new iOS.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, as long as you accept that it is actually wrong.
Oh, all right. Well, that's a bit of a caveat, but all right.
All right, well, I think we should just let's go through chronologically. We can hit the small stuff that you don't care about, Sean, in as little time as
that's most of it. All right, yes, let's do it chronologically, starting with watchOS. Dan,
I have a watch. I don't.
do?
But what happened? Because this is a part I didn't see.
There wasn't too much new. The one thing I wrote down about it I thought was neat is that you'll be able to use the NFC in the watch to connect to exercise equipment at the gym. And it'll trade information back and forth. And I'm like, why they need to do that with fucking everything in the world? Like, I want to be able to tap my watch on, like, anything, and they start talking and doing fun things.
I think the gym is the great first place to do that,
Oh, it's brilliant. It's so smart. So I was gangbusters on that.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a drinking game for tonight.
The,
how many times I say gangbusters.
They had the Siri watch face, too, right?
They did the customized to your machine learning.
That I was pretty psyched about, because currently I just have the calendar on my watch face, but I don't really care about my calendar on the weekends, right? So it would be great if they could just swap. It sees that there's nothing on my calendar for the day, so it decides to show me something else. And, like, it takes up so much real estate on the thing. I like Siri watch face.
I'm curious, Dan. I want to hear your report back after they launch this, only because Siri does that now. Somewhat on iOS a little bit, and I have found it's not very good. So
what do you mean?
Like suggesting things, and there's going to be more in iOS 11. She does it a little bit now with like, oh, do you need directions to this, or it would take you so long to get to there, or just some of the like Siri auto suggest stuff. It never works for me. So anyway,
the directions things worked for me, but that's the only one I've really seen.
You let us know. There's a bunch of fitness stuff. You can do like back-to-back workouts and new like challenges within the fitness app. A lot of fitness stuff there. Dan, I know this is important for you. A Toy Story watch face, so you can have Woody or Buzz Lightyear, and they'll do like fun things on your watch. Yay! And
That part seemed weird to me. Does the Mickey Mouse one do fun things on your watch too?
It like taps its foot.
Oh.
Yeah, no, these have like little animated, silly things happening on your way. The developers loved it.
That sounds to me. Yeah, that sounds to me like a marketing feature. You could put that shit up in the stores, and people will be really impressed.
The rubes out there. There's a new music app as well to make finding and playing music easier, including automatic downloading of music directly to the watch based on what you play to make it easier to use with AirPods.
I still haven't tried that, so I'll have to do it at some point.
How much onboard storage is there on the watch? Do we know? Purely out of curiosity.
Several gigabytes, but not more
many
than
gigabytes.
10,
All right, I'm just curious.
That not less than 16.
The number that came to mind was 8, but I could be wrong. Anyway, that's pretty much all there was with WatchOS 4 coming this fall. Let's talk. I'm thinking in order.
TV was next.
TV.
Yeah.
There really wasn't, other than Amazon Prime. Was there anything else new?
This part I watched, they were talking about there's more things that work with the TV app, which I have noticed.
Like 50 plus services, they said.
Yeah, almost nothing works with the stupid single sign-on thing. You have to live in Hawaii to use that piece of crap. I mean, I'm sure it's great, just no one's like signed up for it. But I have noticed that I don't know. I definitely pay for all these cable channels that I have signed into, like their apps for on my Apple TV. I pay for all of them, but I also have them on Apple TV, right? And the TV app, as soon as when I just had HBO in there, which was what I had for months, it was like, okay, this is just a worse HBO interface. But now that I have HBO, Showtime, Sci-Fi, Sci-Fi, and all these other things in there, it is really great because it'll show you hey, do you want to watch American Gods? You can start watching it right now, and it looks like you like American Gods because you're watching Twin Peaks. It's this is there's so much TV out there now that I'm a fan of the TV app now that I have a lot of stuff plugged into it, and it's more filled out.
I do enjoy the TV app. I just wish Netflix was in it because a full 50% of the stuff that I watch is on Netflix.
Yeah.
And the rest is spread around other things and available in there. But
I wonder if that'll change. If you do a Siri search on Apple TV, it will bring you into Netflix, right? Interesting. Yeah. I wonder why it doesn't just work with Apple TV. That's the TV app. That's sort of weird. Because Siri Siri can index all of that stuff clearly, so it knows that it's there.
I bet they just want you to go through the Netflix app.
Yeah.
They want you to see the banner at the top and have to see that the new season of Kimmy Schmidt's out and this other new show is coming out the next time, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. All right.
But maybe they'll cave to, I don't know.
Well, they caved to Amazon Prime, so.
That's true.
And it's fully expected we'll see new Apple TVs in the fall. I would think now that they have Amazon Prime and Amazon's huge pushing 4K, it would not surprise me to see a 4K Apple TV
I hope we
fall.
see a 4K one. I was talking to Sean before the show. I still have no desire to get 4K. If my TV broke, I guess I would try to get one that has 4K, but I don't really.
As someone whose TV broke and had to go buy a new TV, unless you get a dirt cheap Black Friday, take it off the pallet TV, they all have 4K. They all have 4K. Yeah. So at this point,
can you still not get a not smart TV? Are they all smart?
It's different levels of smart. Like the Vizio I have, it's got the Google Cast built in, but other than that, it doesn't have any other smart stuff. So it's just different manufacturers have different. It's kind of like Windows apps and Windows 10, where if you're just really smart, you can just ignore them and act like they're not there. And you just forget they exist until you need them.
Yeah, but then they're doing stuff on your TV, like recording you or whatever. Yeah. I remember the other day. I remembered that my TV has a camera built into it. Freaked out.
You're gonna put the little tape over it,
Yeah.
So that's tvOS. Up next, macOS. As we alluded to earlier, High Sierra is the name. As Apple wanted to tell you, it's all about technology. which is literally their entire fucking company. And it is about improvements, refinements. A lot of things there. I'll just give you some of them. Safari is getting an update. Of course, they pointed out it's very fast. Good for them. But some privacy stuff in there as well. It's going to block site tracking of you across sites. And it's also going to stop autoplay videos automatically. This is interesting.
Yeah.
And what's interesting,
what a power move.
It's also in the rundown, and we're not going to get into it too much, but Google announced Chrome is going to be doing the same thing early next year, including stopping autoplay videos, interstitials that take up the entire screen, other annoying or intrusive advertisements.
Wow.
So that'll be nice.
GG, what's that called? It's not Bloomberg. It's Business Insider. It's nice knowing you, Business Insider.
I'm still amazed at how bad.
Oh, Business Insider is the one that. Are they the one that like never lets me read the thing I click into because I have an ad blocker installed? I think they are.
Yeah, and Forbes. Yeah.
Forbes.
Let's see. Photos got an update, so new editing tools in there and filtering tools to sort images by keywords or faces.
Did either of you use the Photos app on Mac?
Yeah, I do.
I don't have a Mac.
Oh.
Fine.
So no.
I am a slight Photos power user. Like, I have a kind of nice camera, and I sometimes take pictures with it, and I import them all into Photos, and I edit some of them. And for that, it works really well. It works a lot better than iPhoto.
That's good. A glowing endorsement.
Yeah.
I wish I had a way to organize photos because I have a zillion, and I just scroll through them chronologically, and so I am always looking on Windows.
The search in Apple Photos is pretty good. Like it'll do some of the stuff that the Google Photos will do. You search for a car or something like that, and it'll figure it out. Google Photos is a lot better. So you should try Google Photos.
I do use Google Photos, and it does most of the work. The problem is it does all my mobile photos well. I haven't had a good time getting old photos into it. But you're right, for the mobile stuff, no, they do a pretty good job. But what I want is a system. I'm willing to put in the time to categorize all my photos, but like I did that with Picasa back in the day, and then that stopped existing, and now I'm really worried if I invest all this time again.
You've been burned before.
That's literally, I kid you not, the only reason I still use iTunes is because years ago I spent hours and hours and hours getting all the album art and making sure it was all right and thousands of songs, and I just will never give it up because I'm still
That's kind of why I haven't really tried Apple Music as an alternative to Spotify. Is just because I don't know. I'm like half a decade into Spotify now, right?
That's why I won't leave Pandora. I'm right there with you.
Right. Yeah, I never got into Pandora, luckily. So I'm like one iteration of music things ahead.
Let's see. Also on High Sierra, we have the new file management system that one of you really needs to explain because I did not understand why.
The file
system?
Better.
Yes.
I mean, okay, this one's kind of hard.
Try me.
I can explain. I think I can explain the demo thing that they showed where it was like this duplicating these files is really slow, but now it's really fast.
It's magic.
Is that what you were confused about?
I was just
in general.
Just really the whole thing, the new file system. Basically, I will read you what The Verge wrote and see if this helps you. A big part of this will be Apple's file system replacing the hierarchical file system, which the company claims its own file system will be more safe and stable. It will also be much faster.
Yeah, so
enough said.
Things that Apple file system, APFS, can do is like the reason the copy thing is so fast is because it knows that if you're copying a file, nothing has changed. So instead of copying the file, it creates a new fake file and says this file is actually this file. But as soon as you change either one of those, then it will make the copy. So like copying things is super fast, and only when you edit them does it actually like do stuff on your hard drive. Because at the point that you copy a file, there's no point in creating a duplicate. It is exactly the other thing.
That's kind of fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
crazy.
Great.
Copy on write. It's a computer thing.
See, this is the kind of stuff that I'm glad they do a keynote for. Because no one would ever know about this if they didn't tell anybody.
Yeah. The other thing, I forget what feature it is, but it should be able to do Time Machine backups a lot faster because it can check files. Oh, it inside like the computer, it's keeping track of whether any of your files have changed, and it can perform this operation really, really quickly. It also means that if any of your files get corrupted because of some like hardware failure, it can tell immediately that the file got corrupted because it has this like special thing it can check against. But so that makes it good for like data integrity because you'll know if your data's gone bad. Most of the time you just don't know if your data's gone bad, and it probably has. And it's also good for Time Machine backups because it can identify very quickly what exactly it needs to like put up to the cloud or into your hard drive.
Well, seems very cool. I feel like, is this just gonna like roll out to all computers? That seems impressive to me. Like, if they're just gonna like,
that's what they did for
behind
iOS.
The curtain. Yeah, right. But it seems like I don't know. Like, it seems like iOS might be easier. Like, there's like
definitely.
less. I don't know. Chaos.
More stuff is like in iCloud, and it's less risky.
Mm-hmm.
But I like, from what I never heard any horror stories about upgrading to iOS 10, so I feel like it's probably going to be fine.
Well, they did say High Sierra would be supported on any machine that has Sierra on it currently. So there you go. If you're still running, I don't know, Leopard, you're not going to get it.
What's the weird? Oh, El Capitan.
El Capitan. Yes, indeed. The last thing on Mac OS High Sierra was support for VR in partnership with Metal 2. They got more Metal to juice that graphics performance, and we saw that cool demo from the Star Wars people. I think it's, I've been very clear on the show my constant and unrelenting skepticism around VR. But I do want to see it succeed. Like, I would like to see it. I don't think it will, but I'd like to.
What I liked about their Mac demo is that they didn't try to show a game. They showed how like real people are using this to do real work, and that work is like imagining scenes in movies and very quickly prototyping things and messing around with lighting and like stage setting. So like that's what I've been saying this whole time, is the real power of VR is not like games are going to be cool, but it's not really going to take off until you go into work, and for certain lines of work you need a computer that does this, and now like you could get a Mac that does this.
Well, we have a story in the rundown we're probably not going to get to, that Walmart is testing VR for its employees to train them on how to deal with situations like Black Friday, so like a Black Friday simulation in virtual reality.
That's crazy.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Can we talk about the actually, I don't think this was in. Never mind.
The AR stuff. We'll get to that.
No, I was talking about the ML kit stuff. I forget where that was.
That is a good question. I don't know.
Let's talk. It's more interesting on the iPhone. So let's talk about.
Well, Dan, that's a great transition. High Sierra will be available later this year, presumably in the fall. Developer beta is available right now. But let's continue on because we've got iOS. iOS 11 coming soon to a phone or tablet near you. A lot of features in iOS 11. I'll try and break down some of them, but we won't go through all of them. Apple Pay is expanding to person-to-person payments, taking on Venmo.
Oh my God!
It is.
I wanted to talk about this.
Powered through iMessage. The way it will work is you'll be able to send money to somebody, verify it with your Touch ID and your payment information in Apple Pay, and that money will be cashed in like a virtual gift card of sorts. Apple will hold on to the money, though you can transfer it out to your bank account or use it on other Apple Pay purchases.
Yeah.
Good news.
So,
I was pretty excited about this.
The thing that got me is like if you can use the Apple Pay, whatever cash thing, like a credit card, holy moly. Like that's their that's the Venmo killer if you can do that, right? Because I use Venmo, it's the most convenient one that exists, but I always end up with $100 in my Venmo account that I at some point transfer to my thing. But if I could spend it at stores, I would just use that all the time.
Yeah. And suddenly Apple's a bank.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Seriously.
They'll stash your money overseas. They won't pay any taxes on it. Don't worry.
No, and they'll reinvest it. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, that's how like Venmo and PayPal work, right? Like,
yeah. I was pretty excited about this.
I
think this is one of those things that makes total sense. Kind of like I don't know, like Apple Music. Like it just has to be pretty good, and it's gonna make a lot of money, and people are gonna use it because it's built in. It's really it's gonna be great.
Well, and for me, it's just one more nail in the coffin of why I'll never be friends with someone who has an Android phone. like literally, no. I think we talked about this in the Slack. I literally, at this point, if you have an Android phone, you're a chump, and I don't want to talk to you because all the cool features only work in Apple phones.
Fighting words.
I'm just saying, don't be that guy.
I mean, we don't know what's the Google Messenger thing called?
Allo, what is it?
Allo. We don't know that. They don't have Google Wallet on Allo. Maybe they do. Maybe you're the chump. That's what I'm doing.
Look,
that's true. Maybe they've been living this life for years and we just didn't know.
All I'm saying is, if the day ever comes where you get an Allo request from me to send you money via Google Wallet, please put me out of my misery. Don't let me live like that.
All right, moving on.
Siri. We've got Siri improvements. Siri will now be able to perform translations from English to Chinese, French, German, Italian, or Spanish, with more languages coming later. Siri will also be getting smarter about suggestions, including on-device learning. This will be synced across all your Apple devices, which means the Siri you have on your phone is the same Siri that's on your iPad and your Mac. She or he will give suggestions based on personal usage of Safari, news, mail, messages, and more. For example, as Siri learns topics or places a user is interested in while browsing Safari, they will be suggested when typing in mail, messages, and other apps. This sucks.
Whoa.
Let me tell you why. How many times have you been on Amazon and you're like, I wonder how much an industrial orange juicer machine would cost? And you look at them and you're like, oh, it's $600. That's less than I thought it would have been. And then you get ads for industrial juicers on every fucking website. Sean? This happens all the time, Dan.
No, but I'm curious. Have you looked at industrial juicers?
We did on Up for Debate. We did.
Oh, that's right.
During the show, we did. And I came very close to buying one because those are dope. But what I'm saying is, and then all of a sudden you're on Instagram and you're getting ads for Amazon industrial juicers, and you're like, I don't even know how this is happening to me. That is what terrifies me. Like, there is such a I wrote down, and I'm gonna quote myself here, which is I know I wrote it. I don't want Siri recommendations! ! Was what I wrote. So I am not on board with this. But please, guys, talk me off the ledge.
Well, I will say, like, I feel like my favorite thing about Apple, in the midst of the other, like, things that companies that make things that talk to you, is that Apple is not like an ad company or trying to sell me stuff. And I mean, I guess they're trying to sell me apps, but they're not trying to sell me anything. And so it does feel a little weird. There was something else too. Maybe it was more along this lines. Yeah, it was the thing. Yes, you're right. It's what we were talking about that freaked me out as well. It's like,
see, but they back it up by, like, I think the thing they're missing is a Google takeout, like, a preference system. Like, forget that I searched for Reykjavik. Like, I'm tired of these. Like, I wasn't actually interested. Forget I searched for a juice machine. I am excited, though. So this is something that I was pretty pumped about, alongside the AR stuff, was this ML kit idea. Because if any app developer can, like, hook into this learning, they can provide documents. So an app, Spotify, could tell Siri what music you're listening to, and that's private to you. It's not telling Apple that. Spotify already knows, but now Siri also knows. If you're using another service, like Pandora or Apple Music, it can say, oh, I already know that you like a Bon Iver, I'm going to give you this thing. And like that virtuous cycle, developers are incentivized to provide information to Siri because it's good for the users, But that also means that they can sip off of that fire hose and use those sorts of recommendations. If you have an app that is content based, whether it's like e-commerce or music or news or something, you don't need to build up this crazy infrastructure on your side to track users with creepy cookies. You can just say, iOS, I depend on you to make me more money by telling this user like why they should use my app. Like, hey, look, we have all these Bon Iver albums. We have all this news about this thing you're really interested in. That's awesome. And it's proven to work. Like, that's how ads work. I think the only thing they're missing is a way to control it. And if they had that, it would be great. It's like a little like bubbles of all of your stuff, and you could be like, nope. You think I care about Iceland? I don't. You think I care about John Coltrane? I don't. And then I think it would be great. Then I would be really on board, and I would look for all my apps to use it because it could provide a lot of non-creepy value.
So what do you think about that? Like this development in combination with like the Safari ad blocking stuff? Is that like an Apple like?
Oh, totally. It's like removing. It's like turning off Flash. It's not an information power move. It's them asserting how they think this should work. But the neat thing is, I don't think anyone else is in a position to build out this like really fascinating. It'll be the biggest distributed system ever. All of the iPhones doing this machine learning on these little data sets. It's crazy.
It's terrifying.
And if they can do it like 80% as effective for a user as so say I work for an e-commerce company, if Apple can provide me for free, really good recommendations for people who install my app that are like, 80% of what I could get with Google, but all users get them, that's a really good deal. I'm gonna make use of that functionality because it's going to lead to more sales. It's going to lead to more views. It's going to lead to more purchases.
I did forget that it's like on device.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So I was really excited about this.
Well, and first of all, Dan, credit, because that was the best summary I've heard of how this works and why you should like it. And I am 100% on board on paper. On paper, you're 100% right. For developers, I'm going to go as far as to say gangbusters for developers. I'll take it. Colby says feels good. I say gangbusters. We have catchphrases. And so I would say gangbusters for developers. Here's the problem. I ask Siri, will it rain today? And she says, searching the web for will it rain today? So I will believe it when it actually works. The problem is Apple is good at many things. This is not one of them. If Google was saying they were doing this, I would believe them because history leads me to believe they can do this. History does not get me to believe Apple can execute on this promise.
Failures are not a guarantee of future success or future failure.
On paper, it's the right direction. So I'll give Apple credit for that. My fear is this will end up like MobileMe and Ping and on the pile of Apple good try, but not quite successful things. But we will see. I
think unlike those things, the thing that really feels good about this is there's good incentives on every side.
Agreed.
Ping, Apple doesn't really care about Ping, and neither did users. MobileMe didn't really contribute, but this Apple needs this to be competitive, and it would provide a good benefit for users and for app developers.
Agreed.
But yeah, I hope they do a good job. Because I am honestly envious of some of the stuff that Google can do. And using the Google Assistant on your iPhone it's okay, but it's not great. So I would love to be able to get some of this stuff. And if I can get it and not feel like Google knows everything about me, then even better.
Well, yeah, and you got to give credit for the privacy push from Apple, although to be fair, it is just as much a marketing thing as it is good business practice. It's a fantastic selling point. So good on them for making that point throughout the announcement. Let's see how we doing on time here. Oh my goodness. We're gonna keep rolling here. Camera app got some updates.
QR codes in China, Colby. I don't know if you caught that part. Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. You just
I'm
point
sure
your
it works in
camera.
the United States too.
Yes.
But
Apparently QR codes are big over there. You can just point your camera at just the regular camera app at any QR code, and it'll scan it for you, which I'm shocked they haven't done yet. Seems like an easy one.
Right, like QR codes don't even do it. They just like open websites and stuff.
It's for China. Just one of those things.
Well, I was just gonna say, well, like, why wouldn't it do? I was more surprised that it couldn't do that already.
Seems like a no-brainer.
They didn't want to crush the like.
I think they were
one-off
like,
QR code app.
I think they were like you. They're like, what a stupid feature. We shouldn't
Nobody
even
wants
endorse this. We shouldn't give this credit.
Big mistake. One of the big things coming out of camera is that Apple is going to start using the high-efficiency image file format to shrink the amount of storage that photos take. They're also switching video to HVEC?
HVEC, yeah.
Which is another H.265.
Isn't it HEVC? High efficiency was the HE.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. Why not?
Same letters.
I've never heard of it, so I'm going to take your word for it. So that is interesting. We do have our first Facebook comment of the night. Thanks to everybody who's watching live. We've had a pretty consistent viewership all evening. You can comment on Facebook at facebook.com/don'tpanicShow. We're watching as well. You can call in as well at 508-644-TECH. Zachary Friss says, Google is pretty good at the machine learning stuff. Just today I got a message from Photos asking if I want to archive all document photos to declutter my gallery.
That's cool. So. That's what I need. I need, like, every time I accidentally take a screenshot of my iPhone home screen, Photos needs to, like, put it in a folder that gets, like, cycled into the trash or whatever.
Yeah,
that happens a lot.
And that happens on my watch, too. I don't even know how to do it. Somehow I'm taking screenshots, and it's always just the home screen on the watch every time.
All right, let's see. Continuing on. A lot of stuff in iOS 11 I did want to quickly mention. Do not disturb while driving, which is a new feature on the phone where if it senses you're driving, it will not let you get... It's basically do not disturb, so you won't get alerts on your phone until you stop, and it does things like automatic message responses and things of that nature, which...
It's pretty cool how it detects how you're driving as, like, sonar via the Wi-Fi radios to detect, like, your velocity. Yeah.
Do you think that happens on, like, or will happen on, like, public transit?
I think so, but you can say, I think you could probably just turn it off, was my guess, but I don't know. Transit, I wonder if it's a sustained thing, because public transit typically doesn't sustain, like, 45 plus miles per hour.
I mean, if
That's true.
It might be smart enough to know, and certainly in certain major cities, what the names of the Wi-Fi is in the transit, and to know if it's connected to those, you're probably on a train. But I don't.
Yeah.
But what I wrote down, I put this in the Slack. To me, this just reads as, we don't want you to use Google Maps while you're driving, so we're going to not allow you to use Google Maps while you're driving. And then the first thing I'm going to do is turn this thing off when they try and get me to... Because as they explained it, by default, the first time you use iOS 11 and you're driving, it will prompt you with a big blue button to turn it on. And you know most people are just going to default click to turn it on. And they are essentially blocking out Google Maps. It's brilliant. Don't get me wrong. But I'm kind of annoyed because Apple Maps is still terrible. So that was the first thing I thought of.
I haven't used Apple Maps in years, or frankly Google Maps for driving either. So.
It just drove me in circles. It's the worst.
Once in a while, I accidentally click on, like, the auto highlighted address in a text message or something, and then I go into Apple Maps.
Apple Music has a social element. It'll show what your friends are listening to. Get psyched for that. We got a redesigned App Store. There's a more of an editorial aspect. So great, more content. Get psyched.
That's good because the App Store design is like real information overload. And hopefully this means that they improved like searching for apps. But
agreed.
We'll see.
Let's see. That's pretty much most of the big stuff in iOS 11 outside of ARKit, which we can talk about next, but go ahead.
Yeah. No, AR is what I was going to bring up.
There we go. ARKit, Apple included that as part of the announcement. It's so developers can build augmented reality apps. It can find planes, track motions, and estimate scale and ambient lighting. Apps like Pokemon Go will use ARKit for improved real-time renders. They did a demo on stage where they were making little virtual coffee cups and lamps and exciting things like that. And then we saw that cool game-esque demo that was pretty neat. I wrote better AR is good ! And that was to me like the number 1 to number 2 most exciting thing about the announcement today.
Yeah, that was really impressive. I wasn't like going when they started talking about AR. I was like, all right, like here we go. But it looked really good. And Apple is a company, and Ian, whoever it was who was presenting, I forget, alluded to this. Like they don't do demos that aren't actual on hardware demos. So like this wasn't some like pre-rendered Microsoft Glass thing, whatever the hell that thing was called. This was like actually happening on that table in real time, and it was really, really cool. Like, imagine I was at a bar before I came here, and it's like, you know, these little tiny tables, and I was imagining like, oh, you could make like cool games that change depending on the size of the table, like some sort of like ball flicking game where you have to flick these balls and they bounce along the thing, and it would change every table you play it at. The game would change. I was like, this would be really cool. Yeah, and I was really impressed by the demo.
I'm not convinced of the practicality of the like looking through your phone at stuff to play.
Pokemon Go has proven this out.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe that's true.
Colby, I agree with you. That's why in the fall they're going to announce their glasses, and this all makes sense. I mean, I think that's why they announced it now, so nobody's surprised when they announce glasses in the fall, and that's what it is. And we've seen the leaks that they're working on it. And if it's not this year, it's next year, and they're going to be pretty, and we're all going to buy them.
That there will be no glasses.
How many dollars? You broke up there for a minute.
$5
whole dollars.
5. I will. All right. I will bet you 5 Apple Pay iMessage dollars that they will announce their glasses this year. They may not be on sale. Hello? Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Hello?
Both of my monitors just completely died.
Oh, we can see you.
Oh,
just
shit.
Keep going.
This is
Roll
really
with
bad.
it.
What the hell just happened? No, literally, they're both completely black. This is really bad. What the hell happened? Oh, shit, I think...
Did you get so excited you kicked the power strip or something?
No, but you know what's really funny is because I don't like to leave all the monitors, and I've got all kinds of shit plugged in, and so I have it on my Wemo Smart Switch, and I think it just switched itself off for no reason. God damn it. This is why the smart home is such a joke. All right, anyway. All right, they're back. They're booting up now. All right.
All right. I was going to say they're going to turn on like in the middle of the night and be
Yeah, so AR, I'm down on VR, but I'm up on AR, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How are we doing on? Jesus Christ, we're almost at an hour. We haven't even gotten to like half the announcements. Holy shit. All right.
Uh-oh.
We only really have one big one left.
No, well, we haven't gotten to Macs or iPad.
Oh, the Macs.
Oh, that's right. All right.
Yeah, so let's hit up or HomePod. All right, let's hit up Macs really quick. We've got new iMac desktops. They got better display, better graphic, better processors, better everything. This is when they demoed the VR stuff with the better Mac. We also have the iMac Pro, presumably replacing the Mac Pro, 5K display, all in one.
Well, no, this isn't replacing the Mac Pro because they said in the presentation that there would be a Mac Pro coming that they were going to show later this year. Yeah, they did. I thought so. I'm pretty sure they said that.
Well, anyway, we'll see.
And the other thing that I learned recently from not internal, but a thing that Apple said publicly from PR is that which of all their Pro apps, Sean, so you've got, Logic and Final Cut. Yeah. Which do you think is used the most?
Mail.
Hint. No.
No, I don't know.
Mail isn't a Pro app. Xcode is the most used Pro app that Apple offers, which implies that software engineers are their number one pro consumer, which is super interesting.
Makes sense. I buy that.
Anyways, yeah.
No, honestly, the one note that I wrote down on my little notepad about the iMacs is that, what did I say? Non-configurable iMac Pro, and by that I mean when you put in an all-in-one, Apple gets to keep selling you a new one every 2 years because you can't put in new components. So,
yeah.
Smart people.
That's true.
They're thinking. That was the first thing I thought of. I said, because that's the whole selling point of the Mac Pro is you can swap shit in and out. Good job. Okay. So those are coming. They'll be very expensive, and you can get them in December. Starting
Except
at $5,000.
the tiny MacBook got less expensive.
That's true. Then the MacBooks are all getting new processors. So, worth cheering about.
I think something else got less expensive, too, but I forget what it was.
The
iPad
pricing
the 13-inch MacBook Pro got
I think the
less
13-inch MacBook Pro got less expensive, too.
Let's see. We've got a new iPad Pro, 10.5-inch. It is... they weren't clear to me. Is it replacing the 9.7-inch? Is that the idea? Okay.
That's what it sounds
So it'll
like.
just be that and the 12.
For the pros, right?
Yes.
And then they'll still have the 9
mini.
regular or something.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, no, it says iPad Pro will now be available in 3 different sizes with a new 10.5-inch model introduced today. So I guess you do get all 3. That doesn't make any sense. Why wouldn't you?
Maybe they're just doing that thing where they keep the old one around and it's not, like, upgraded?
Oh, well, you know what? I don't know. I do think it's just the pros are just the 10.5 and the 12, and then the 9 is just the regular iPad.
Gotcha.
Let's see. It's obviously faster. It's got more cores and that sort of things. It supports HD video with the 120 hertz refresh rate. They focused a lot on that, so the display is going to be crazy. They've dropped the latency rate for Apple Pencil, so that's going to be better. Better display, better cameras, all that jazz. Available later this year, starting at $300 and no, that's not right. Starting at $649.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Lastly, we didn't touch too much on iOS 11 for iPad. We talked about the file system, but also they've upgraded multitasking, so you'll be able to better, with a new app switcher, so you'll be able to pull up new apps, do the side-by-side, and rearrange them, including in the application switcher. Apple Pencil's more integrated, so you can do more stuff in Notes. You can annotate screenshots as well. Yes, I'm actually I'm gangbusters on iPad. There, I said it. I really wish I had an excuse to buy one because my old laptop is now officially old, and if I were to replace it today, I would really take a serious look at an iPad Pro because I'm kind of excited by what they were selling me today.
Yeah, I thought the screenshot thing was clever. I also thought the multitasking looks really cool. I think we'll have to wait and see. If it is actually really cool.
Well, and I like that the 10.5-inch also has the full-size keyboard. That comes with it, too. So really, you're talking about more of a computer than the smaller version. Zachary Friss on Facebook comments one more time, and I agree with him. All I want is the new keyboard and trackpad in black. Looks so good. That comes with the iMac Pro.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get those in the vending machines at work.
Oh, boy. Good. All right. Lastly, HomePod. No, it is not an alien spaceship. It is an Apple speaker. They focused really heavily on the music and sound aspect of it first. Smart speaker second. It uses spatial awareness to tune and better fill the room with sound based on the space it's in. It's just this little kind of speaker ball thing. It also has what they call a musicologist feature, which is basically just Siri, but you can ask it complex music-related questions, and it'll play all your Apple Music that you want, but it'll also do all the normal Siri stuff. You can ask it the weather and sports scores and control your HomeKit items and things of that nature. It will be available in 2 colors, black or white. It'll be available in December, starting at, it will cost $349.
It's a lot of money. Is it a lot of money? How much is an Echo?
The Echo with the screen is $230, and the regular cylinder is $150. A Google Home is, I think, $125. But like a Bose speaker, which is what I think or like a Sonos speaker, which I think is what they're trying to compare it to. I mean, that's more in the $200 to $300 price range. Yeah.
Right, and it doesn't listen to you while you're doing.
That's right.
Right.
One other thing
I thought this was the right play for them, was to go for making a speaker that actually sounds good. I think if it is as good as a $300 speaker, like if it is like one of the best sounding speakers you can buy, and you pay, because those are $300 to $400.
Oh, easily.
And you get like, pretty good. I think it needs to be better than what Siri is now, but if it's better than what it is now, you pay $50 for that. I think this will do decently well amongst people looking to buy $300 speakers.
Yeah.
I was really excited about AirPlay 2, and I hope that other things support this besides just the Apple speaker.
Were there any details on what AirPlay 2 is, or just
no? But
mostly
the two things.
Oh, go ahead.
The two things. The only thing they said is that it's multi-room, but the thing that they implied is that inherent in the protocol is information about what is being played, so that like devices that are being AirPlayed to could tell you things about what's happening. You could control this, like the AirPlaying from another device that's not like the thing that it is actually actively AirPlaying, because it knows like what position you are in the podcast or whatever.
Interesting.
They did announce a podcast. They had podcast support on the AirPod thing, right?
Yes.
What I hope is that this is, in concert with the new Siri features, a lot of things can make their content indexable by the AirPods. So you can say play a podcast and it knows that you have this podcast app, and you can say I want to listen to this song and it knows what your song thing is. It sounds like it's only going to be Apple Music, which kind of sucks.
Not good.
But yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I might switch back to Apple Music, because Apple Music does have some songs, some albums on it that aren't on Spotify. So, plus, like, one of my favorite bands, I think I talked about this on the show, stop me if I did, took their music, some of their albums off of Spotify and Apple Music.
Taylor Swift?
No. So I have now bought them on iTunes. So now, like, on my phone, I'm switching between Spotify to be like, okay, is the song I'm listening to on iTunes or is it in Spotify? And this works okay on the desktop app because it can, like, index your iTunes library. But the phone, I think I've read that it's supposed to be able to, but it never worked for me. So I might switch back. When I used the Apple Music, it was fine. It was better in some ways, worse than others. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I mean, it's a lot of pros and cons, right? I mean, I will say the echo sounds terrible. The speaker in that thing is a joke for music. It really, and podcasts. Frankly, I don't listen to podcasts on it because they're almost kind of hard to hear. It's not a good speaker. Like, it's really good at the smart stuff, but it is not a great audio system. So I get where they're coming from, and if this is a really good speaker, hey, good for them. But for me, the fact that it's locked into Apple Music and the fact that I'm just not a big fan of Siri says I can go spend the same amount of money and get a Sonos, and it sounds pretty good, and I can get as much music from any service on it I want. Yeah,
I wish that they had put more of this into the Apple TV, because I have good speakers hooked up to my TV, and they went out and said this in the keynote. But it seems like a lot of the features inherent in the HomePod are not available. Some of them are, but a lot of them aren't available on Apple TV.
Well, and part of the issue, too, is that AirPlay, as far as I know, I could not tell you many speakers that have AirPlay installed. I don't think it's particular. And it's the same for Google Cast and most of these things. Like, it's just not pervasive yet. So
it's only Bluetooth, yeah.
So you're pretty much going to have to buy, like, if you want whole home audio, you're going to have to buy a ton of these HomePods and put them everywhere, which is fine, and some people are going to do that. But I just don't. For me, the selling point isn't big enough for me to, like. I'm happy with my Echo. Put it this way.
It's also like, I feel like it doesn't fill every speaker use case either, right? Like, it's not a like under TV speaker or anything. This is like just a Echo style thing with a good speaker, and maybe it makes sense in like a bedroom or auxiliary rooms. I don't know. I mean,
Well,
I only have one room to
its,
fill with sound. But
even
You're
with
right.
its size, you put a battery in it, this thing's portable. I mean, it's not big, by the way. If you're not familiar with the size, I saw a picture. It's like as tall as your iPhone. Like, it's small. It is not a big speaker. And so
who knew?
I think it makes a great
big.
portable speaker.
It seemed big to me in the picture.
Well, they blow it up on the screen, Colby. That's not actual size, That's a representation.
It was
Did you
as big
see?
as Phil
Did you
Schiller.
see? Yeah, Craig Federighi in front of that giant iMac. It was so big.
He looked like a toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had another room, like my only room that isn't my bedroom, I have no desire to have this in my bedroom, is the room that my TV is in, and that already has a pretty good speaker, already has an Apple TV, so I can't really buy it. If I had another room, I would consider it. I would really want to see how the voice functionality performs, because they have a lot to prove there. If it's good though, I could see myself buying it, because it sounds like using Alexa to play podcasts and music is one of the coolest features that it has. Like, it works so well. It sucks that it sounds so bad that you don't want to do it. I'm way more interested in that than buying things with my voice. Like, that's something I don't think I would ever do.
I agree. Well, and the bonus you get, by the way, too, that you don't get with any, is like iMessage support is built in, so you can listen and send iMessages, and so they're
you don't want to send Amazon messages or whatever the hell they're called?
I'm going to Amazon video call you, Dan, and you're not going to know how to answer. And
I won't even get called. What will it ring me on?
Exactly. No, it's a problem. Look, they're going to sell a lot of these to Apple fans, Apple Music fans. Good for them. But as of today, I would rather, you can get the Echo Dot and plug it into any speaker you want. So go get a good bookshelf speaker, and you're still spending less and to me having a better experience. But I think it looks nice, and if it sounds nice, good for them.
Something I want out of a speaker is one of those like sound bars you could put under a TV. But the problem with the sound bar is, unless you're going to invest in, even if you do invest in a switch or whatever it's called, a receiver, like only one thing can be playing through at a time, and you have to manually, even with a receiver, you have to manually change the input. So if you want to use your dot with your speaker, you have to change it from TV input to the dot input, or from like the Apple TV thing, so you can Bluetooth it. I want a speaker that figures out what is playing over it and just switches. Colby.
I have the Sonos one, and that's what it does.
Really?
It, like, plays whatever is coming in.
Okay, that's what I want.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it, like, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of dumb. Like, you can like override things accidentally as you could with anything else. But I think it gives priority to the TV, or that was like a setting you could put on where it's like, well, if the TV's playing, it'll only do the TV. But
all right, maybe that's what I need. I definitely don't need that, but
yeah, need is a strong word.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm concerned about with AirPlay 2 is that I don't know how long it'll be before the project, the like random sketchy like JavaScript server that I run on my computer to get like AirPlay onto the Sonos. I don't know how long it'll take for that to get upgraded to the new version of AirPlay.
Well, you've got at least 6 months, so
yeah. Or I can do it myself. Worst comes to worst, I'll have to do it myself. That sounds like a project, though.
Yeah.
Apple always making more work for you. Wow, guys, that's it. We man, that was a lot to get through. Took Apple 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
We only did it in an hour. And I think we were just as fun. That is it. We are out of time. No time for picks this week.
Great.
But as far as I can tell, you guys didn't have any,
I-
so it's okay. I'm not judging, but no picks. But that is it. We will be back next week with some non-WWDC Apple news. We promise. We'll try extra hard to not say the word Apple or anything. We appreciate everyone who joined us. We had a really great live viewership tonight, including some comments on Facebook. Thanks to everybody who joins us live. We do it Monday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Don't Panic Show. It's a lot of fun. We love when you interact with us. But if you can't join us live, you can join us anytime on our website at don'tpanic.io. It's fantastic. These guys built it. Go check it out. You can get the audio and video versions. You just got to flip that little toggle at the top. And you get that. All the picks from all the episodes are there. And, of course, how you can find us, which is really anywhere you get podcasts. iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play Music, most major podcast apps, TuneIn Radio. We're pretty much everywhere. And, of course, the video versions in HD, looking crisp at youtube.com/Don't Panic Show. Lastly, get a hold of us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter. And our email is don'tpanicshow@gmail.com. Is that everything, guys? That's a lot to get through. We need less stuff.
I think you got it.
But we appreciate it. Like I said, we'll be back next week with more exciting tech news. On behalf of Colby and Dan, this is Sean, thanking all of you for joining us and saying honestly that we cannot wait to have you back next week.